If you're a home buyer right now in the Kelowna real estate market, you might not like what you're about to see. To give a little hint, prices have actually increased over the last month. So, despite sluggish sales and skyrocketing inventory over, say, the last 18 months or so, prices somehow have ticked up. So, let's look at the numbers, what's driving this, and whether this is a 1 month blip or a trend of things to come. All right, so this is the stats package here for the Central Okanagan, Kelowna area. This is the overall residential market and the single family home category, and I'll include the prices towards the end here. And if you're interested in seeing more of the market, I do separate videos on the townhome and condo market as well. So I do invite you to hit the subscribe button to see those videos going forward. Now let's start with the overall residential market here in Kelowna. So the number of sales that we had for the month of June was 417. This is a 6% increase over 2024. So 2024 was quite slow. 2025 has started out quite slow, and leading into May, June, we're a little bit busy. Our busiest month is typically May, and it was, and June seems to be there as well compared to especially last year. Dollar volume, so total number of the dollar volume there is up 8.5%, which makes sense because sales were also up over last year. And it really doesn't make sense to give you the average price for the overall market, but if you are interested, it's around 863,000. But I'll get into the single family home category coming up here. Now, the number of active listings total for the residential market is over 3,500. That's a 7% increase over last year. Now, the number of new listings, we're actually seeing that come down a little bit, at least in June. Maybe that's a trend of things to come. Maybe the market's balancing out a little bit and we're seeing less and less listings, but only time will tell us that. So the number of new listings we had were just over 1,100. Keep in mind that does include any relisted properties, say a property that's been on the market for 60 or 90 days and they relist it, that does count as a new listing, so keep that in mind there. And the list to sale price ratio, we're still around that 97%. In the month of June is 97.5%, so buyers and sellers are negotiating off the last list price, 2.5%. And the days to sell, we're sitting at 56, so around 2 months to sell off the average property. Now, condos are taking a little bit longer. If you want to review of the condo market, again, that'll be in another video. But for the overall market here, it's roughly 2 months. Now, if you have any questions about the Kelowna real estate market, you're looking to buy or sell, I'd be happy to help you out. You can simply shoot me a text message to the number on the screen. Or if you do prefer more of a formal meeting, there's a link down below in the description to book a one-on-one call with me there. Now let's take a quick look just at the year-to-date sales here. So typically, January starts off slow and then it ticks up all the way to May. May is typically our busiest month here in the Okanagan. And then as the summer hits, it dives down a little bit just with, life happening for people, the school's out, that sort of thing. And so typically June, July, August are a little bit slower than May at least. And then once the fall hits, it ticks up a little bit again. Usually not quite as high as May, but a little bit busier than the summer. Now let's look at the single family home category here. So number of sales we had for the single family home category was 207. That's a 13% increase over last year. So that's a great number to see there. Number of new listings was 621. And the amount of inventory or the number of single family homes on the market right now is 1,572. So just about roughly half of the market is single family homes. And that inventory is down about 7% over this time last year. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, prices have actually ticked up overall in the single family home category as well. Now, the benchmark price, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, prices have actually increased, especially in the single family home category, over 2024. So you're up almost 6% in the single family home category. Keep in mind, this is just 1 month, but it has been trending upwards there in the single family home category at least. And in a minute here, I'm going to break down just a few different neighborhoods and show you what the prices are doing in particular neighborhoods compared to others. Now, the days to sell in the single family home category, you're around 51. Keep in mind that doesn't include any relisted properties. So if a property had sit on the market for 60 days, it got relisted and it sold 15 days later, that wouldn't count as a 75 days on market. It would count as the 15 days. So keep that in mind. It's a little bit higher if you are pricing your home higher and you have to either do price drops or relist, but keep that in mind. But as of the last list price, the average days to sell is 51, which is a slightly higher than in 2024. Not too much though. And just like the overall market, the list to sale price ratio, you're at 97.5%. Months of inventory and the absorption rate, you're in a buyer's market with 7.5 months of inventory, which essentially means if no other properties were listed at the end of June, it would take about 7.5 months to sell off that inventory. And it's a good indicator of where prices are going. And their prices have gone up over the last year. But it's at even at 7.5 months, it's pretty, it's not quite a balanced market, but you're just into a buyer's market. And then the absorption rate at 13% essentially means in a given month, you have about a 13% chance of selling your home. So even, we're in a buyer's market, close to the balanced market. So if you are coming to market, make sure your home presents well and is priced well compared to others in your area. That is very important right now, especially with the number of single family homes that are available and the choice that buyers have. Now let's discuss the pricing. So this is the overall market for the Central Okanagan for the single family home category. And in a minute here, I'll go over a few different neighborhoods, comparing those. So if we start at today, end of June 2025, again, we're at 1,067,000 for the typical single family home, and that has ticked up since May, about 37,000. And if we compare that to the peak of the market of March 2022, where we were at just under 1.2 million. So again, we have come down since then, and that is a 9.5% decrease from there. And then if we go back, just for fun, we'll go back 5 years. So to June 2020, where the typical home was around 700,000. And then from June 2020 to the very peak is about a 62% increase there. And then again, we've pulled back about 9-10% since then. And then from June 2020 to today, you're up about 47%. And if we take it back 10 years, you go back to June 2015, the typical home was just over 500,000. So prices have essentially doubled in 10 years in the Kelowna area. Now let's take a peek at a few different neighborhoods here in the Central Okanagan. So the three that I'm going to go over here are the Ellison area, which is out by the airport. You're kind of north or northeast in the Kelowna area. And then Glen Rosa, you're the most southern part of West Kelowna there, just before you hit Peachland. And then in Rutland, Rutland North as well. Rutland North and Rutland South, the prices are essentially the same. So I just picked Rutland North. So just to compare the different areas, Glen Rosa and Rutland are essentially the same. You can see they kind of did the same throughout for the last, at least 10 years or so. The Glen Rosa didn't quite peak as high in the peak of the market as Rutland did. Rutland almost hit $1 million, whereas the Glen Rosa area was almost at 900. But if you go out to Ellison's at 1.1 million, and then they've pulled back to just under $1 million today. Now, Ellison has different pockets. There's different types of properties. So in my opinion, this is a bit skewed. You're probably closer to the Rutland price range for what I would consider the typical single family home out there. There is acreages and stuff out there which might skew these numbers a bit, and there's not a lot of sales. So keep in mind that might be the numbers here might be a bit skewed. You can get a nice home in the Scotty Creek pocket there, a single family home for around 750, 800 right now. So it's you're not quite near a million. You're near a million, maybe with a little bit more land, or maybe a substantially updated home with a pool, that sort of thing. Now let's compare the Kettle Valley, Wilden, and the Upper Mission. Now these three areas are at the higher end of single family homes in the Kelowna area. They're all essentially the same. They followed each other, since the neighborhoods have come into inception, really. So Upper Mission peaked out the highest just by a little bit. So at $1.5 million in March of 2022. And then if we pull back to today, about 1.3 million. So there's about a $200,000 price gap between then, so the last 3 and a bit years. And that goes for all three neighborhoods there. Now let's look at the Glenmore area, Kelowna North, which is downtown Kelowna, and the Lower Mission. So Lower Mission, similar to the Upper Mission, peaked out at a little bit less than the Upper Mission by 50,000, but it peaked out at 1.45 million. And then just like the Upper Mission, you've pulled back about $200,000 there to today. And then Glenmore and Kelowna North, or downtown, essentially mirrored each other the whole way through, peaking out at 1.1 million, and then today you're at under $1 million. Now, my single family home deal of the month is actually in the Lower Mission this month. So I have this listing coming up. It's not on the market. It'll be on the market in 2 days. So I just want to give a quick preview of that if you happen to be interested in the Lower Mission and purchasing a home in Kelowna this year, or in the summer. So this is the property here. It's 4492 Swaceland Road, again in the Lower Mission. Walking distance to the elementary school and also walking distance to the beaches. So this is the property here. I'll give a quick overview of it. It's on a large parcel of land, so you can, if you do so need a pool, it has room for a pool-size backyard, if you will, or a really nice garden if you have a green thumb. So it's nicely landscaped. The main floor has been updated with a beautiful kitchen, as you can see in this photo here. It's a 3-bed, 3-bath home, 3 bedrooms on one level on the top floor. And then you have your main level, and then you have a basement with a separate entrance and a little workshop. It's one of the bedrooms there. This is the primary bedroom here with a nice shower. There's a little balcony that goes out to the backyard. And then the basement is more of a kind of entertainment area. They have a pool table and stuff down there. A little, I don't know if you can see it past me, but a little workshop down here. And then this is the area. So the home is situated here. Make sure I'm not blocking it. Yeah, I'm not blocking it. So it's situated, again, in the Lower Mission, right off Eldorado Road, Eldorado and Lakeshore. Here, a few houses down from there on Swaceland Road. So this is the house here, and then you're like a block to the beach as well. So if you are in the market, you want to be in the Lower Mission, this might be the perfect home for you. If you do want more information on it, simply shoot me a text message to the number on the screen. And that does it for this month's market update for the single family home category in the market overall. If you're looking for another video to watch, I've handpicked this video just for you.